morning Year 6 and welcome to this week's maths videos. We are going to continue practicing our arithmetic with Fluent in 5, but we are going to move on to constructing pie charts, not just interpreting them. Now, in order to construct a pie chart, you do need a protractor. You will not need one for the first few sessions. The first few sessions I've either put the segments on for you or there are markers around the outside. You will need a protractor towards the end. Don't panic if you haven't got a protractor at home. I've had a look online and there are some virtual ones. Now, I haven't put links for them because it depends what browser you use, but there are ones that are available for Apple and there are ones that are available in Google Play or Google Chrome. And it just allows you to have a see-through protractor on your screen which you can move and angle. There's also a website online where you can upload pictures and use their protractor, so you could almost take a screenshot of the slide and upload that if you needed to use it that way. But there are many different ones out there, so don't panic too much if you haven't got a protractor at home. So, this week's. Today we're going to look at constructing a pie chart. As always, I'd like you to have a go at your Fluent in 5, pause the video and have a go. Okay, so let's look at the answers. We have 343, 3.96, 12, 903 and 4013. Well done if you got those right. So, angles, degrees, circles and turns. We can split a full turn into angles and measure the amount of turn in each angle. This full turn has been split into 4 equal angles. A full turn is always worth 360 degrees. The angles in a full turn must always add up to 360 degrees. Now this one has been split into 4 segments and each segment is worth 90 degrees because 90 times 4 is 360. Now you'll notice as well, they haven't been marked on, but 90 degrees is a right angle and it is normally represented with a small little square. If you ever see that and it's not been marked, you know that that little square indicates a right angle and you know it is 90 degrees. So, aha, here is such a square. Now, I'd like to pause the video and have a go. Now, today's video is going to work slightly differently. There'll be a daily challenge, then I'll go through the answers, and then there might be a bit more input, and then another daily challenge. So just bear with me. So I'd like to pause the video now and have a go at working out the missing angles. Use all your knowledge that I've just told you and see if you can work out what the missing angles are worth. So hopefully you've had a go. Let's look. Now we know that the full turn is worth 360 degrees. We know this angle here is 120 and this angle here is 100. Now this one is 90 degrees. Hopefully you remember that that is a right angle. So even though it isn't given, it is. It's a right angle. It's 90 degrees. So what is the value of the missing angle? So if you add 120, 100 and 90 together, you get 310. If you then remove that from your full turn of 360, you get 50 degrees. With the next one, again, it's not been marked on there as 90 degrees, but you know it's a right angle, so you know it's 90 degrees, which means the missing angle is 218 degrees. And lastly, you've got 19 degrees, you've got 45 degrees, that must mean the missing angle is 296 degrees. Well done if you got those right. So, let's look at how we can turn our knowledge of degrees into pie charts. So the children in class 6 have voted on which animal they would like as their class pet. This table shows the number of votes for each animal. There are 360 votes in total, so the whole pie chart needs to represent 36. So if the whole pie chart represents 36, how much is each vote worth? Now remember, all of the angles in a pie chart or a circle need to add up to 360 degrees. So if your total is 360 degrees, but your pie chart in terms of votes adds up to 36, how much is each vote worth in degrees? Don't panic if you don't know, we'll go through it. So, let's have a go. If there are 36 votes represented in our pie chart, but the pie chart is 360 degrees because it is a full turn, then we know that each vote is going to be represented by 10 degrees of our pie chart. So out of the full 360 degrees, if there was a little segment that was 10 degrees, we would know that was 1 vote. Because if we have 10 degrees for every vote, and we were to add them all up, we would have our 36 votes, but we would have as angles, as degrees, 360 degrees. So now that we know, now that we've worked out our degrees by dividing our amount of degrees by our number of votes, we know that that's worth 10 degrees. We can then convert our data into degrees so we know how much to put on each pie chart. And we can do that by multiplying the number of votes for each animal by 10. So we know that each one singular vote is worth 10 degrees. So if I've got 2 votes, how many degrees would that be? So if 1 is 10 degrees, then 2 votes is 20 degrees. 3 votes would be 30 degrees. So I'd like you to have a go at completing that table for me, please. So once you've completed your table, which can go on this page if you wish, you now need to turn the data into that pie chart. So if you know that for a hamster there were 4 votes, then you've worked out your degrees by doing your 4 votes times 10, because it's 10 degrees for each vote, and that will tell you how many degrees represent hamster. If you then look at the pie chart we've got here, you'll notice you've got segments that are 10 degrees each. So you need to work out how many you would colour to represent your 4 votes for hamsters. So times all of your number of votes by your degrees to work out your representative degrees for each animal, then colour it in on your pie chart to represent the data. Have a go, and I'll show you the answers in a second. So hopefully you had a go. So we know that the hamster, there were 4 votes. We worked out that because there were 36 votes in total and our pie chart has 360 degrees, we worked out that there were 10 degrees per vote. That meant that 40 degrees would represent a hamster, 100 degrees would represent a rabbit, 70 degrees would represent a budgie, 120 degrees would represent guinea pigs, 30 degrees would represent fish, and in total that would add up to 36 votes and a full 360 degrees. So if each segment was worth 10 degrees, we should have coloured in 4 of those segments to represent the hamster, etc. So your pie chart may look slightly different because you may have done them in a different order, but just check that you've coloured the right amount of segments in for each animal. So if you've got a 360 degree pie chart, let's recap quickly. How do we work out how to put that into our pie chart? So you know that you've got 360 degrees in total. You look at how many votes or animals or whatever it is, the total of your data, how many of those votes, animals, crisp packets, whatever it is, how many you have, and you divide that number by your 360. So we did 360 divided by 36, and that gave us 10. And that tells us what each one piece of data is worth in degrees. We were then able to times that by 4 for our 4 hamsters, and we got 40 degrees. I hope that makes some form of sense, and I'll see you tomorrow for more maths fun.